This is deck list for Buu. It's Michael Graves. I got 22nd out of 216-ish on day 2 at Vegas. I was asked by Card Game Coliseum to make a video, so I guess I'll just get down into it. Played Buu. You should know what the card does. If you don't, sucks, because the card's amazing. But essentially on the front side, when you swing with it, you can plus 5k on it and then draw a card. And then when you have no cards in your hand, you can awaken, so you can awaken at 8 life. The awakens take 2 life, draw 3 cards, so it's plus 5. On the back side, if you have no cards in your hand, at the end of the turn, you draw 5. And activate main, you can put a card from your hand in the drop to either give this card 5k or suck up a card with 3 or less. Not ignoring barrier, which kind of sucks, but you can do it as many times as you want because it's not once per turn, so it's kind of nutty. But for the deck, got obviously 4 of the best super combo in the game because I mean it's absolutely bonkers. 3 of your play starter.
Explain what it does.
Gains 1,000 for every card in your drop or warp. So, I mean, you got 5 cards in your drop. You're already in 10 cards in your drop, roundabout, so you discard your hand twice for your leader, and you're already at 13,000 base, so it's kind of amazing. Your best starter card, after turn 2, you have to have 2 energy. You can pitch a card from your hand to play a level 2, or 2 cost, Dabura, Pui Pui, or Yakon, or Majin Buu. So he's going to be grabbing these guys, which, as long as you have 2 or less cards in your hand, your opponent can't activate counterplays, which is absolutely bonkers. So you can just go through all your nutty plays and stuff without ever getting interfered with at all. He also has barrier, so it's hard to get rid of him without wasting a bunch of resources. Your other play starter, you're gonna be getting this guy. This guy, as long as you don't have any cards in your hand, you can place him in your drop area to either, if you're at 2 energy, you can play a 3 or 4 drop from your drop and play it, Majin Buu. If you have 3 or more energy, you can choose a black Majin Buu with an energy cost of 3 to 6 and play it. So, obviously 4 of that guy because he's absolutely bonkers and he starts everything. Which you're generally going to go into this turn too. This card is amazing. You always want to see this card. He's dual attack. He's 15k and he's your 4 cost. So he's going to be what you're going into to start off with. And then this card says you can place it in your drop, or no, you take a card from your drop area, a Majin Buu with an energy cost of 3 to 6, and play it on top of him in active mode. So you can swing with the 2 drop, knock it off, play this, swing twice with this, then bring out the crit guy who does the same thing, and he comes out in active mode. He swings, and then he also grabs the one that's between 3 and 6 and plays it on top of him in active mode. So then you can go into this guy who's double strike, who also has the same effect as the other guys. So you can swing with him, hit the double strike, and then go into the best choice, which is him. Generally, almost always the best choice.
For at least turn 2.
Yeah. This card's bonkers. He's base 20k. His permanent says he can't be removed from your battle area by your opponent's skills, like at all. Can't be KO'd, can't be dealt with really easily unless you neg it. But
he can be KO'd though.
Yeah, he can't. He just can't die. Auto, place this card from your owner into your owner's drop area. When your opponent plays a battle card with energy cost greater than their current energy, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the warp. So when they play a card like, say, I mean, it's not going to do much against it, but Topo, anything bigger than their energy. So if they're EX evolving, if they're arrivaling, what have you, you can kill it. So it solves a lot of problems.
And it's a big no for secret rares.
Yeah, secret rares is the biggest one because they're going to be dropping those like 5 turns early and stuff. So, I mean, you're going to want to deal with it. I won so many games against secret rares like Smoke Dragon and all kinds of stuff because Smoke Dragon has to activate main. So this just deals with it before it ever even becomes a problem. Play 2 of this guy. He is absolutely bonkers. He's Mistake from Yu-Gi-Oh! But as a Dragon Ball card. He also cannot be removed from the battle area by skills. When he's in rest mode, your opponent can't add cards from their deck to their hand unless by their leader effect. or drawing for their turn. And you can pay 3 energy, activate battle, and he gets 10,000 power and triple strike for the rest of the turn. Which, cards like the Evil Majin Buu, he can restand him and hit for a second triple strike. So it's pretty nuts. Then getting into the most busted card in this deck. This card is absolutely ridiculous. Turles. Because you can play more than one per turn, and all it does is put back 2 cards into your deck with an energy cost of 3 and 7. In between 3 and 7, play it from your hand.
So that's basically every card.
Yeah, activate battle. You can pitch a card from your hand to make him plus 5k, and he's dual attack, so he just puts in a lot of damage. So he's 15k twice. Card's dumb. Helps you keep from killing yourself. Helps you get extra cards and other dead cards out of your hand. Helps you set up your plays. The card's just absolutely ridiculous.
It's extra defense for mill decks too.
Yeah, I got a funny story about that too. Extra aggro. This card stops a lot of cards these days. Anything that's played 15k or less by a non-keyword skill, your opponent has to pay 2 cards for it. You can swing with it, and you take a life, and it gains 10k. So it's if you don't know what this card is already, then you either new or you're just crazy. This card put in so much work. I'd have some games where I'd open 2 of these. You pitch it from your hand, activate main to mill 2 cards from your deck, so you fill up your drop faster. It makes your super combo more live. Puts your Buu targets in the drop. It puts in a lot of work. But you can also pay 3, put 2 cards, just like Turles, back on the, or 3 cards back on the bottom of the deck. Play this card from your hand, or from your drop. Sorry, your drop. So he makes for some nutty plays. And if he attacks a battle card, he restands himself once per turn. And the thing that goes really well with the Turleses and these, you're putting all those Buu targets on the bottom of your deck. You can play these, search your top 7, grab a Buu, and it shuffles your deck up. So you're putting all those targets on the bottom, and then you play him, and it shuffles it back up. Makes it to where your targets are more live. Play 2 of him. Stupid counterplay. It gets rid of auto effects. The card's bonkers. It doesn't have a cost restriction on the card that counters. Stops secret rares. Stops everything. This card is ridiculous. I played the one of Mira just to finish some games. Plus the super combo is just absolutely nuts. It's double strike. You pay 1 to play it. Overwhelm 7. You draw a card, and he's just a great finisher if you see him. And the thing is, with Turles and all that, you can just keep putting him back into the deck. That way you can play it when you need it. So just about anything in this deck, you can see it whenever you need it. It's not hard. Mimicry, this card is one of the best cards in the deck next to Turles. When you play it, it's plus 15k to any Buu. So you can do it in your leader, you can do it when you're attacking for game, whatever. You can activate main from drop, pay 2 energy, warp this, discard a card from your hand, gets cards out of your hand, to play a level or a 2 cost Buu from your drop area. And
so that just goes back to the chain.
Yeah, and then comboing that with the Bobbity that lets you play 2 drop from your drop, it's great, especially if you want to go off 2 chains and stuff. Because the lower cost, the 6 drops and less, can only be played once per turn. But the 6 drops, you can play as many times as you want. So if you want to go into 2 different chains, you can. Power Burst at 4, because this card's amazing. It grabs you back your Bobbities, it grabs you back the Mass Saiyans, it grabs you back the Boos, and it's extra protection, because you draw 5 when you end your turn, so you'll have a chance of getting these in your hand. I never didn't see these when I needed them. These cards are amazing. And then the main deck hate for Topo, because, Topo needs to die. That's it for the main deck. Side deck, played 2 of these for the mirror match. Gives you 15k and lets you warp a card from your opponent's drop. So if you're playing the mirror match, you can just warp all their pieces. It makes it so much better. Play it against Cell. Warp the cells from drop. They can't play them. It stops a lot. 3 of this girl. Didn't really use it a whole lot, just because the deck doesn't really make it past turn 3 usually. It's so aggressive, especially if your opponent has open energy and stuff. Like if you're playing up against Piccolo, they're always going to try to counterplay you and stuff. So if you've got the Pui Pui set up, this card is amazing. playing 3 of these in a turn, and then playing something else, and going off in your Buu combo, and then going off in Turles, and just, absolutely obliterating people. 2 of this for the Hatchiyak matchup, because this deck really, really sucks against Hatchiyak. Because an aggressive deck, you're not wanting to play just one card, attack with 1 card a turn. You want to attack with a lot of cards. This guy lets you, I think if he's the only card in your hand, you can suck it up under a Buu to restand it. It's really good, because you can control your hand. So we get this to where this is the only card in your hand, suck it up, get a second triple strike or whatever. It's a great card. 2 of these for the Hatchiyak matchup. This actually won me a game against Hatchiyak. The only Hatchiyak deck I played day 2 was I 2-0'd them. Game 1, I decked them out. I don't know how I decked out Hatchiyak with Buu, but it was basically recycling the Hatchiyak promo and the Turleses, recycling each other, comboing them off, putting them back in the deck, shuffling the deck, grabbing them back, playing them again, shuffling them back. So I was shuffling back 5-6 cards a turn, and kept myself from decking out while my opponent just couldn't do anything. And deburred their Smoke Dragon, so they couldn't play that. And had 2 or 3 Black Mass Saiyans out, so they wouldn't be able to play their Ghost Warriors without discarding 2 cards for each Mass Saiyan. It was great. These for removal, and it's not a dead extra card, because while it's in your hand, it's a 0 cost 5k activate battle. So it's basically like a free 0 cost 5k attacker, or a combo card for attacking or defending, either or. But it just makes it where it's not dead in your hand. It's an extra card that kills stuff. An extra Turles for aggro. This for free the swap. Herculean Buu. Anything that's going to be bouncing stuff back to your hand. For the rest of the game, your opponent can't do it, so it just kind of stops a lot of plays before they can get out of hand. An extra 1 of these if I'm playing against red, and then an extra aggro if I'm playing against something that tries to stall a little bit, like Piccolo. But that was the side deck. The deck is absolutely nuts. Every game that I won 2-0. Any game I lost 2-1. Except against Red Green Broly, because Red Green Broly is really, really bad matchup for this. Because, negging really hurts when cards can't be removed from the battle area. It's removed from game, by game mechanic instead. So it makes it a lot harder. But my matchups were, round 1 I played against Cell Surge, the deck that got first place the day before. 2-0'd them. I killed them turn 2. Turn 2 or turn 3, they didn't even have time to get set up. They charged 1 energy, played something or whatever, or they charged a dual color. They didn't make it past turn 2. 2-0'd that one. Went to game 2 against Cell Surge again. 2-0'd them. Like I said, he didn't even get a start. Killed him before turn 3. And anytime he got cards on board, the androids and stuff, the Android 17s, whatever, suck it all up with Buu, and they just can't do anything. Game 3, I played against Hatchiyak. Like I said, I decked him out. Game 1. Game 2, the Food of the Dark Banisher just shut everything down. You get to attack twice with the Turleses, get attacked twice, a battle card and then leader with Hatchiyak. Your Buu, you can pitch as many cards as you want to boost it by 5k for each one to make sure his hit gets in. Game 4, I played against Red Green Broly. I got stomped. He 2-0'd me. I couldn't play anything because that Champ Pack Broly was just actually ridiculous against this deck, because he could play it and neg my card before my effect used to come off, so it kills the Buu before I even get to remove his Broly, which sucks. I think game 4, or that was 4. Game 5, I don't remember what I played against. Oh, Surge Piccolo. I played against Surge Piccolo. I 2-0'd him. The next round I played Piccolo against Seraphim Zam. Dude is an amazing player. It was back and forth the entire time. He wouldn't let me get my Buu combos off, but he also couldn't do anything. So it was just like a slow battle, and the further he goes, the easier it is for him. The further I go, the harder it is for my deck. But it was 2-1. My next game I played against Serge Piccolo again. He just basically slow played the entire game. You know, it takes me like maybe 2 minutes to do my turns because everything's so fast. But it was taking him like 30 minutes to do each of his turns. We didn't even make it to game 3. We gained, he won game 1. I won game 2, and then we tied. But I think that was it. But my final score was X12, and got 22nd place. But shout out to Lee Klingensmith because he let me borrow this deck. I was gonna play Cooler, but he didn't get to make it. So I told him that I would play his deck for him and try to get a top with it. And got my invite. I didn't get top, but I got my invite with it. So I hope I did him justice.
Yep.
But thank you.
Also, do you think this deck is like the underdog deck of
No
set
one
9?
even knew about this deck. Like, a lot of the guys that I played against are like, yeah, somebody at my locals was talking about playing this. But I feel like it's going to be really bad. And then they played against it, and they were like, oh, you kind of pushed my pooper in. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell my friend to build that deck anymore. I don't want to play against that. But
And you want to explain how aggro it is and defensive, how that works?
yeah, because, I mean, you can literally go all out on your turn. And then on when you pass turn, you draw 5. So then you've got all this combo fodder. You've got all these negates. You've got whatever to do whatever. And if you've got 2 energy open, you've got the Daburas to counterplay stuff. And this deck is just absolutely ridiculous.
When did you
offense and defense?
Want to awaken? Like when?
Oh, turn 1 every time.
Turn 1 every time.
Turn 1 every time.
Throw everything you got.
Yeah, I mean going +5 on turn 1 after you just got rid of your whole hand, and then getting rid of all of that, and then drawing 5 more. You're seeing everything you need. Like, this deck is really RNG based, but you cycle through so much stuff, you just see everything you need, and there's not really any issues. The only hard matchups I know for this deck is I talked with Austin, the one that got first place that day. I like some of his choices he made with it. Like, he played the Goku Apes to counteract against Topo, where I played this. But he played against some of the harder matchups like Gohan. As long as you got the negates in your hand, which you're almost more than likely going to see them, you're good. Yeah, I know it's a uphill battle against Gohan. As long as you make it through your kill turn, I mean, you obviously win. But with this deck being so defensive, it's probably better off than some. And then Cooler and Red Green Broly. That negging hurts really bad.
And the milling too.
Yeah, the mill hurts, but like I said, cycling the Hatchiak promo with the Turleses and stuff, I never ran out of cards. I never decked out the entire time I've been playing this deck. And if it tells you how good this deck is, I played it for the very first time, day 1 at Vegas. Never played the deck before. Threw it together, or he had his initial deck list. Only cards I changed in his deck is I put the 3 Mass Saiyans in and the 2 Super Kamehamehas. And, I mean, that made all the difference, like the aggro matchups and stuff, because you can kill them, and they're like, oh, Topo, and you're like, huh, no. And you have to be at 4 life to use this too, which the Black Mass Saiyans help with. So I get to aggro them and then set myself up to counter their Topos and stuff. But that should be it for it.
Price, like budgeting wise.
Until he topped with it and got first place with it, and like a couple other people topped with it, this deck was super cheap, and it's still,
except for the mimicry.
Yeah, the mimicry was like $10, but now it's like 25, and like everything in this deck shot up now. But I mean, as opposed to like Surge Piccolo and all the other stuff, considering this could make such a dent in the meta right now for as cheap as it is, it's still a really good option, because just if you pick up the super rares and the promos, like, you've got the whole deck, and you've only got 4 super rares and 2 super rares in my build. So I mean, it's not. I mean, like maybe $150, and you got the whole deck.
Yeah, and it's mono black too. So unlike all the other decks in set 9, you don't have to deal with.
Yeah, or like the Surge leaders that play like 4-color and stuff like that, and all tricolor decks around the draft box stuff. You don't need anything from the draft box for this, which is great for the community because everyone hates the draft box stuff because that's the best cards out right now. But Set 9 brought us this, and I'm absolutely in love with it. But thank you at Card Game Coliseum for letting me do this. Y'all have a good night.